Hello and welcome to Your Questions Answered with Father Gruner. I'm John Veneri. In this program, we take your questions. Father Gruner answers them. We discuss them. We're getting a lot of good questions. Please keep sending them to us. Questions at thefatimacenter.com. You can see the address to write to us on the screen. Today, we have a question about organ donation. Would you please comment on organ donation and its implication for Catholics? May we participate in organ donation?
Well, I'm sure, John, you know, you were there, of course, at the Niagara Falls Convention Center when we had our conference last year, and we had an expert, I think a world-renowned expert.
Yeah, Dr. Paul BYRNE, yes.
Yes, and I'd urge them to watch his presentation much more than what I can say here, other than say he makes a distinction, of course, some organ donation you should not participate in, and there's limited times that you can, although he would recommend against it. So if a person has two kidneys, of course, he's not saying that it's completely wrong to give one kidney, but if you only have one heart, you can't give it because without it you can't live. So
a lot of the question comes down to what's called vital organ donation, and that is giving an organ that you can't live without. Vital. A heart, I guess a liver, and if anyone has a card that says, I will be an organ transplant or an organ donor, I would urge you to rip it up and get another card that says you do not want to do it. The reason being is this, they can't take a heart from a dead body. It has to be alive. You have to be alive. They don't want a heart that's been inside a dead body because it immediately starts to putrefy and they can't use it. And so they have to keep you alive and then kill you to take the heart. This is the nature of the science. And, you know, in operating rooms when they're trying to save someone, why do they have at one point, why do they give a pronouncement of death? Well, according to true science, good medical science, they make the pronouncement of death so that they can say, there's no point in working on this poor soul anymore. We've done everything we can, and he or she is gone. Today, with vital organ transplant, they have a vested interest to pronounce you dead as soon as possible.
So that they can take your
take your heart, as Dr. Burnett says, warm and dripping, and start this process. So the process itself of vital organ transplant is immoral because they have to kill you to take your heart. And we have to remember too that medical ethics today is very much run not on the true ethics that you would get from Augustine or Aristotle even, or Aquinas. It's situation ethics, which is utilitarianism.
What works best for me now?
What works best for me?
I
what
can
works
do
best
evil
for
in order
people?
to achieve
I can
good.
achieve evil to achieve good. So, and another thing about organ transplant is, I wish Randy Engel was here to talk about this, there's big money in it. The hospitals and the doctors have a vested interest to be involved with this. And this is the reason why Harvard University in 1967 came up with the concept of brain death. So they said, okay, his body's living, but the brain is dead, and they devised that for the purpose of being able to harvest vital human organs from dead bodies, from live bodies, and kill them in the process. So, you know, this vital organ transplant goes into a number of categories, and we're for the most part, the public is not told what's the real truth about it.
It's for Catholics, but every man, first of all, has an obligation to not commit suicide. I also have an obligation not to give someone else the right to kill me. Not that I could give him the right, but I don't even give him the appearance of giving a right. So I can't sign an organ transplant to say, you can take my heart, because I'm saying, if I'm injured and the doctors figure they can get away with it by declaring me brain dead, although my body's alive, and I can come back to life some other time, just later on, with a bit more treatment.
And there's many cases where they have come back. Yes, go ahead.
And so the whole point being is that by signing such a document, you're enabling somebody to murder you, basically. Even though the person wears a white coat and is called Dr. So-and-so, you're enabling somebody to murder you. So you can't, but not just for Catholics, anyone has an obligation to save their life, and anyone values their life, they should never sign that. Even if they're not afraid of God, they should value their life, not to sign this thing, because you're signing your own death warrant.
Yes. So as Father Gruner said, I would urge you to watch Dr. BYRNE's video on this. Maybe we could put the link on right
Sure.
on the YouTube right underneath, so you could, because he gave quite a presentation about it, and but it's something that needs to know, because as I said, utilitarianism and just what works best and doing evil to achieve good is very much the guiding principle of the modern medical profession. So
Rather than the law of God.
not the law of God. That's correct. So that's it for this topic, and we will see you next time.